So we are through to the next round of the FA Cup after defeating Leicester City for the third time this season. Ruud van Nistelrooy was the coach for Leicester City this time around. The last time we defeated Leicester City in those two encounters, he was the coach of Manchester United. This time around, he brought his team to the Old Trafford and he lost by 2-1. He was asked after the game how he lost, and he said that he lost to an offside goal enough Peggy time. You could see his frustration. Clearly it was an offside goal, but just to educate you, in the first and second round of the FA Cup, there is no VAR. So the VAR will kick in from the next round going. So unfortunately, a decision went against Ruud van Nistelrooy and his team. United, on the other hand, that was a lackluster performance. That was a performance that we should look back and frown upon. What was good for us is that we have pushed ourselves to the next stage of the competition. But if we continue to play like this, you should clearly know that we are going nowhere in the competition. There are clearly issues with this Man United team. We've tried as much as possible to talk about a lot more of them, but the more you look at the game that we are playing, the more discouraging it is for you as a fan to sit through and watch these games. For those who are in the comment section, as always, criticizing us for having to highlight certain things with regard to the coach, it's not like we don't give coaches time. Like Kwame would say, if you know myself and Kwame very well, we give our time, we give coaches time. But when it's not going well, we see it and we talk about it. But Kwame is here with me to discuss everything. Kwame, I hope you are doing very well.
Much better after the end of the game. Much better. During the game, trust me, I was all over the place.
We're all over the place. Exactly how every United fan was feeling throughout the game. We'll be back to break it down for you after this quick break. When we come back, the quiz question is on today, so I'll give you the quiz question. And we've prepared some sumptuous football odds for you, those who like to, invest. Some sumptuous one for you at the end of the podcast, so you can just have a look at it and then you can just go and play with it. So we'll do that for you right after this here on United and Everything Football. All right, thank you very much for sticking and staying with us. Remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Please pause the video now. Hit the like button. If you've not subscribed, please do the needful. Hit the subscribe button and be a part of the family. We are a big family. We are growing. We are a big growing community. Thank you. And to all those who join us on the podcast, thank you very much for all the comments that you give to us. We really love them. We really appreciate them. Thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. Kwame, let me start with my quiz question. My quiz question for today.
Of course.
Start with that. All right. So what is the question? I once broke the English transfer record to move to Man United. I won 6 Premier League titles, 3 League Cups, the Champions League, and a Club World Cup. Despite spending 12 years at the club and playing in 2 FA Cup finals, including the first FA Cup final at the new Wembley, I never won the competition. Who am I? Let me take it again. I once broke the English transfer record to move to United. I won 6 Premier League titles, 3 League Cups, the Champions League, and a Club World Cup. Despite spending 12 years at United and playing in 2 FA Cup finals, including the FA Cup final at the new Wembley, I never won the competition. Who am I? Drop it in the comment section. Let's know who the answer is. Let's continue to pile the people who are getting this correct. And see, we'll put you in a ballot, and then we will pick one person to win something. Hopefully at the end of the month of February. All right, Kwame. Before, right? It's at the end. The sumptuous food, sumptuous odd. It looks very
for investors.
Yeah, for the investors. Anyway, let's get straight into action. 2-1 against Leicester City at Old Trafford. You have a lot on your chest. Unpack it. We want to hear you. What did you make of the game?
3 months ago, a certain Eric Ten Hag lost his job. And his assistant manager took over the job as caretaker coach in legend of the club, Ruud van Nistelrooy. And in his first couple of domestic games, he played against Leicester City twice.
Yep.
The very first one was in the League Cup, where by halftime we're leading 4-2 in a ding-dong affair, but entertaining half, where we scored goals for fun. But the issues that we had then was defensively we had frailties. By the end of the game, it was a comfortable 5-2 win.
Yeah.
The next game was in the league against Leicester City at Old Trafford, and I think he won 3-0. Over the course of his caretaker period, I think he won 4 games in 6 or something like that. He didn't lose a game. He stabilized us.
Yeah.
And Amorim took over. Many had the expectations of either Ruud van Nistelrooy staying on or not staying on. The decision came down to the manager. And he said in his presser leading up to today's game that, and I think he was right. I'm not going to say he was wrong, because as at the time I thought that was the right decision as well, that he didn't want Ruud van Nistelrooy to be sitting at the very back end of his coaching staff because he's too big for that.
Yeah.
That's a sign of respect. And at the time, I also felt Ruud van Nistelrooy was due a big job himself, especially after a very successful interim role, where he's the United manager with the highest success rates in terms of wins ever in history, even better than Sir Alex Ferguson's.
Correct.
Just because of those big games. Statistically, the stats are the stats. You can't deny it.
Yes.
And fortunately for Ruud van Nistelrooy, he did get a job. He got rewarded with a job at Leicester City. He's had a tough time at Leicester. We all know why. Because Leicester City lack quality. There's a reason why they're at the bottom of the league.
Correct.
Unfortunately for him, they didn't even reinforce his team in the January window. So everything's cast. Let me just put it that way. Everything cast for him. I don't think Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to turn them around. But as the football gods would have it, we got past Arsenal in the first round of the FA Cup, and lo and behold, we're drawn against Ruud van Nistelrooy in the next round, the 4th round of the FA Cup. A welcome home for our ex-manager and football legend. Today, he faced Ruben Amorim with this same Leicester side I've described as dire and desperate. And in the first 45 minutes, Leicester City looked like the best side. Leicester City looked like the team in control, the team that was composed, the team that looked more likely to score than us. United looked more tentative, ponderous. And we just went about playing the football game with no energy at all, zero energy. Before I get into the nitty-gritties, the details, I would like to start with the lineup, because that's where I think I lost the plot completely. It was a back three of, we know about Martinez's long-term injury. If it was last season, we'll all be having our hands on our heads, despair. Yeah. But his presence or absence to me doesn't make any difference, because structurally there is a problem with the team, whether he's in it or he's not in it.
Yeah.
The back three was Euro at right centre back, Harry Maguire at the central centre back, and Moussa Mazraoui playing at left centre back. But here's where I lost the plot completely. Our wing back situation. Kwame, 2 months ago, I started crying on this spot and on Twitter. United need to sign a left back yesterday. People have been making fun of me on Twitter about this thing. Finally, when we signed Dogudo, like, Kwame can rest now. We don't have to see those tweets anymore. Sign a left back yesterday after every single game. But the left back that we signed in Patrick Dogu started at right wing back, and Diogo Dalot started at left wing back. Midway through the game, Paul Scholes posted a tweet. United is the only team that is playing 2 inverted wing backs, not 4 backs, wing backs. You did a very good video describing Ruben Amorim's tactics before he came to Manchester United. 3 months, was it 2 or 3 months ago?
Yeah.
Where you showed positionally how he likes his teams to play. And we all came to the conclusion that it's best when he has one inverted fullback, preferably on the right, and a natural left-footed fullback on the left. But because of our injury issues to Luke Shaw and Taro Malasa, we're of the opinion that A lot of people are of the opinion that it's the reason why we are heavily reliant on Mazraoui and Dalo, despite the fact that neither of them fits the left back role. We signed one. We signed one just yesterday, literally just yesterday, and he's fit to play. And you don't play him in the position that he's supposed to play. Instead, you play two inverted wing backs. Does Diogo Dalo have his notes? Nepotism was the end of one manager before. And it seems to be something that could lead this next manager into his grave. Diogo Dalo is not a good footballer. I'm saying it today for the 18th time. I am done with that. He's not a good. Kwame, how long have I been saying this? How many years? Tell me.
Over 4 or 5 years.
I've been saying this for like over 5 years, actually. Exactly. Like, I don't know who he is. And he has one good season in 6, and fans are looking at him like he's the best fullback since fried rice. We had Dennis Irwin playing as an inverted fullback for this club. It's not like I've not seen the level that an inverted fullback should be at this club. When he plays on the right-hand side, he's not any better. Today, all he was doing was passing the ball inside and gifting possession to Leicester City every single time for them to just counter-attack us. That's all he was doing. And Patrick Dogo, let me just say something positive about Patrick Dogo. He's a tank of a footballer. You seen this player, Udogie, at Leicester City.
Udogie, yeah.
Very similar physique, good motor, very good power. He's a good runner. For a 20-year-old, that's what we need. We've always spoken about how low the physical floor of this team is. He brings that physicality. The coach also alluded to it, that he brings that physicality to our team. He's a powerful runner. He's strong. But unfortunately for him, whenever he did go forward and had the opportunity to cross the ball into the box, you could see how uncomfortable he was doing it with his right foot. He even had a proper goal with his right foot as well. Imagine if he had those opportunities on the left, where the vision is different. The decision making would definitely be different.
The angles are different.
And this is his debut. Why don't you play him on his strongest side on his debut? At halftime, he hooked him off and left Diogo Dalo on, still playing at left wing back. Why? What's happening? What's wrong with you? See, there are a lot of things that we can point out to in terms of the quality of the squad. When it comes to the quality, you would say to yourself, we lack quality in certain areas. Kobbie Mainoo was returned back into the number 10 position that he played in Europe. But like I told you, when it comes to the Premier League, the physicality, the speed that is required to play in the Premier League, Kobbie Mainoo is one of the players who is currently struggling with it. He will get by in Europe because of the level of opposition and the intensity that those games are played at. But when you are playing against Premier League opposition, the power, the pace, the strength that is required to retain the ball and take the ball forward. Every time Kobbie Mainoo had the ball, he played the ball backwards. At a point in time, after the Old Trafford crowd was patient. See, today I felt for them. I felt for them because I could feel what they were feeling. You could get all the emotions that was going through the stands right through your TV screen. For 20 minutes, they were backing the team. But whenever the camera went into the crowd, you could see the nervousness in their faces. Like, we're not seeing anything here. We're not seeing any progressive football. All that we are doing is sending the ball backwards every single time. After 30 minutes, you could hear the boos, you could hear the rumblings, and the team got even more nervous in possession. Bruno Fernandes has been playing in the middle of the park with Ugarte. He's our most creative player, and he's now restricted. I think it is now counterproductive because we are not even controlling the game from midfield. So what's the point of him?
There's this fun fact. For about 50 to 60 minutes, to the 60th minute thereof, I think until we scored that goal, we have not had a shot on target all game.
Yeah, we are not creating any opportunities.
For anybody who has paid attention to the stats over the last couple of games, we struggle to play shots on target. And the reason is simple. We are not creating enough chances. We are not dangerous. We are not progressing the ball to dangerous areas. When teams sit back, then it's even worse.
We can't play through them.
The reason why you enjoy or celebrate those wins against Arsenal and Man City and other things is because those are other big teams who won't sit back, who would bring the game to you. But if you look at the current Man United team, it's a counter-attacking team, and they are good at it. Because we are good at it, when those spaces pop up, we would have chances to be able to exploit those spaces behind other teams. But if teams decide to go on a mid-block or a low block, there's absolutely nothing we can do. And that is where we stand at the moment. Carry on, Kwame.
It's even made worse by the fact that aside Kobe Mano up front, you have a striker who is now completely short of confidence in Rasmus Højlund, who can't hold the ball, who can't do anything. He seems like a kid whom the pressure has gotten to, and now he can't get anything right. On the right-hand side, he played Amad Diallo there. This is another thing that gets to me. Let's go back to the explanation you gave when Amorim was appointed.
Mm-hmm.
A very clear infogram and diagram and explanation of the fact that when we play a left-footed right winger as a wing back, he causes damage.
Mm-hmm.
Amad Diallo has been at his best
As
under
right
Ruben
wing
Amorim
back.
as a right wing back. Very often when he plays as one of the front three, he struggles. But the game against Liverpool and against City, he has struggled in breaking that. And like you explained, the reason why he thrived in those games is the spaces open up. We don't have to take the game to them.
Mm-hmm.
But when there's a mid block or a deep block and there are so many bodies, he struggles to create opportunities through them. But when you play him as a wing back, he's able to isolate one of their fullbacks and then do damage. And this was evidenced by the changes he made in the second half, which actually changed the game. He moved Amad Diallo to right wing back. This is his best position in this setup, and we shouldn't alter it. Play Dogo at left back, and then stop this whole nonsense of Diogo Dalot. And he brought Garnacho on to play as the right number 10. But you know, Garnacho naturally doesn't stick to that position. He wants to play out wide. So Diogo Dalot was underlapping. The thing is, even if you play a left-footed left back there, because you need that full back to underlap, that left-footed left back can still underlap and cause damage. The reason why I'm saying this is there were times that Diogo Dalot himself found himself in behind the defense, and he had to put a good ball into the box, something that Garnacho was doing at regularity when he came on. But every single time Dalot puts the ball into the box, it was behind all our forwards. It was crazy what Diogo Dalot was doing today. Offensively gives nothing. Defensively too, very, very short. So even if he had Shaw at his pump, Shaw used to underlap every single time when he played with Marcus Rashford on the left-hand side. So it's not new to a left-footed left back underlapping all the time. It doesn't always have to be an overlapping run. But Garnacho was the main change of the game. Zexi came on as well with him. Zexi scored the equalizer from a Garnacho cross, but Garnacho was the one who was causing all the problems. One-on-one against Justin also, he was cooking him. The problem that the only criticism you can have of Garnacho's performance today is decision making as usual. The usual thing that we complain about is just an issue of immaturity when he gets into certain situations. There were times where he could easily have laid the ball across the face of goal for either Højlund or Zexi to tap in, but he goes for a very, very poor shot. He was unlucky himself even before the goal with that effort that came off the crossbar. And then it was cleared off the crossbar. Lucky Leicester then. But it was all Garnacho. All Garnacho for me. Zexi came in, and what he did was he put himself about. He's been doing well coming off the subs bench lately, and especially in the cup competitions. Very good performance at Spurs, despite the fact that we lost. He scored a goal there, if my memory serves me right. Against Arsenal, he caused Arsenal a lot of problems when he came off the bench. And today, he's also helped us to rescue the result. But our strikers need to be scoring at constant regularity if this manager is going to obtain any level of success this season. These two strikers in Højlund and Zexi have to find the back of the net. I wouldn't say the performance after the substitutions was stellar, but there was more directness. We're more forward trusting with the football. We're more purposeful with the football. We caused them more trouble. We're able to sustain more pressures, despite the fact that whenever Leicester had the ball, they could still easily play through us. And that is why I still have a problem with Ruben Amorim and his system. It's not watertight. It's not fluid. It's not it's not working. If you have been critical, really, really critical, it's not actually working.
See,
And
the truth is
we played
that
like
any decent opposition would win against Man United. It's don't please
easily.
just pay attention to what we are saying and understand. Any decent opposition. Palace, decent opposition. They came in, had a plan, stuck to it, bam, 2-0. Brighton, decent opposition. Came in, had a plan, stuck to it, bam. Forest, decent opposition. They came in, stuck to it, bam. Let me look forward again. We will play against Villa. Decent opposition. They will cause us problems. Who else are we going to play? We'll play against Arsenal. They are a better opposition, not a decent, better opposition. They
We
will
have
cause
to
us
go to
problems.
Stamford Bridge. We have to host Manchester City. There are a lot of big games coming, Kwame. A lot.
So the
I was saying
coach
in the
has to
previous
find a way.
episode,
Yeah, Kwame, let me hear you.
I was saying in the previous episode that are we even sure that when we come up against Premier League opposition in the cup games, that is in the FA Cup, we'll be able to like surmount them and then go forward. And at the very first hurdle against one of the worst Premier League teams, see the way we struggled today. Imagine we are drawn in the tie on Monday against one of the top half teams in the Premier League. That's trouble. That's like we are almost out. And speaking of that, the FA Cup, our FA Cup run
It's a
over the
funny one.
past, let's say, year and a half
We've
has been
just
interesting.
lost one game.
No, it's the manner of which we win the cups. There's a huge element of luck to it, dating all the way back to last season. You know, we've been to back FA Cup finals. It's been
Yes.
like 2.5 year run of incredible success in
That's
the
what I'm
FA
saying,
Cup.
that we've
We've been the
just
most
lost one
successful
game,
side.
and that one game we lost was the final against Man City.
Man City all the way back like 2 seasons ago. But from last season, if you look at the Liverpool game and how it went, the luck, it's just luck. And the last minute winner from Ahmad. Then the next round, we played against a championship side in the semi-final and we blew a 3-0 lead and had to beat them on penalties. Then unexpectedly, we win the final comfortably. Then the first round of this year's FA Cup, we go down to 10 at Arsenal and we dig it out and win on penalties. And today we win by a last minute goal, which is offside. Offside, clear offside. I'm not. People might say on the balance of play at the end of the day, we deserve to win today. Fair enough. But the manner of which we won, if it was against us, I'll feel very, very, very hard done.
Yeah.
But fortunately, VAR wasn't in operation, like you said. And the reason why VAR is in operation in the first couple of rounds is there are some very, very weak and poor teams in the first couple of rounds who can't afford VAR in their venues. School parks and small stadiums around England, they can't afford the system. It's too expensive. So just to balance out things, they go like the first few rounds, nobody should use VAR. But they know that as the competition progresses, there will only be big teams left in the competition who have VAR in their venues, and then they go on from there. Necessary win in the FA Cup today because the FA Cup is one of the routes we can take to get back into European competitions. We saw that last year. By winning it, we are able to compete in the Europa League this season. By winning this Europa Cup, Europa League can also get us Champions League football. So the cup competitions are important. We can't afford not to take them seriously. We can't afford not to progress. So at the end of the day, we live to fight another day, but that performance, like Ruben Amorim said at the end of the day, is nothing to write home about. The coach has to improve, Kwame. The coach, he has to improve because he's not. Say what you want about the squad, but you can't be this bad against the likes of Southampton, the likes of Leicester City. These are teams that some of the few teams I consider
they are bad.
They are
not good enough. That's the point.
These teams have come to Old Trafford, and literally outplayed us for most parts of the game.
They made us suffer to beat them. You see,
it should never happen like that.
I mean, let me establish the trend very well. Sorry that I'm cutting you so much because see, that's what I'm saying. See the category of teams. Poor sides. When they come to Old Trafford, we win, but we labor. Decent sides. When they come to Old Trafford, we suffer and we lose. So imagine the better sides coming. When Arsenal come, when City come, right? when these teams do come, we are going to. So there's a category of teams that I've put in poor size, decent size, and all of that. And it just doesn't make sense.
In as much as we don't have a team to compete, that's why I said the last time, our squad is uncompetitive. There are some games and some performance that I'm still not going to give the manager an excuse for. I'm not going to do it. Because this can't continue for 4 months. It can't. In the presser before the game, he said he is the one who made the decision to allow certain players go on loan, despite the fact that he knew they were not going to be replaced. It was his decision. If you take responsibility for it, I take your word for it. You know I'm taking his word for it because people want me to take his word for everything that he said. Despite the fact that I come and sit here on this podcast and tell you that this manager isn't telling the entire truth when it comes to certain decisions that have been taken at the football club over the past couple of months, because we know football.
Yes.
We've watched football our entire life. He's
trying to play the hard guy, accepting all the responsibility, but we know where the decision is coming from.
We know where the decisions are coming from. So why do fans always pick sides and choose sides? We shouldn't do that. If it was his decision at the end of the day to allow such a thing to happen, where his squad has been weakened without being strengthened, he has to coach his butt off. He really has to coach his butt off. And at this moment, after 20 games, I can count the number of good performances that we've had, about 3 or 4 out of 20 matches. He's won exactly 10 games out of 20, 50% win rate. And that win rate is attributed mainly to the cup games, where he's won about 86% of his cup games. I think 6 wins out of 7 in the cup competitions. That's including
he's not lost any of the cup games. The only thing is to play a draw or something.
No, he's lost one. He's lost one against Spurs when he fielded a team he should not have fielded.
The League Cup, yes.
That's the only loss. So that's an 85% win rate. But that is consistent with every other Manchester United manager who has come to the club post Sir Alex Ferguson. Bar Moyes. Louis van Gaal got us to an FA Cup final and won it in the second season. Jose Mourinho got us to 3 finals. Let me take it step by step so that you know this. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jose Mourinho went to 3 finals. First season, he went to a League Cup final and won it. He won an FA Cup final in the second season and lost it. First season, he also went to a Europa League final and won it. 3 finals in 2.5 seasons or so. Even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, despite the fact that he went to only 1 final in the Europa League, he went to the semi-final of the FA Cup once, League Cup final, semi-final twice. Even the Europa League final, he went to 1 semi-final and lost to Sevilla before the final. Cup competitions, but in the league, he fell short. Then Ten Hag comes in and goes to 3 cup finals as well in 2 seasons. Back-to-back FA Cup finals, won the League Cup final as well. So what he is doing is nothing different from what the previous managers have done. Where we have always fallen short and what has cost managers their job is the league form. Every manager has averaged above 50% win rate in the league, bar Ralph Ragnick. And unfortunately, Ruben Amorim's stats in the league is the worst of any Manchester United manager. He's won about 30% of his league. So no matter how we spin it, he's not doing well, and he has to do better. And he has to do better if he is even going to have this job come next summer. I keep repeating this because we've said this already. People think his job is safe, and then we have to wait for him to get his players and spend another 250 million.
Check OGC Nice.
Check. Ineos can pull the plug at any single time.
Dan Ashworth has been sacked.
Kwame, if he doesn't prove, if after 20 games you've not shown us anything to show us that you deserve that 250 million pounds, why should we go through the rest of the season accepting bad results, and at the end of the year we go like, oh, you know what? Despite everything that's happened over the past 6 months with you, we are entrusting you to be the man who should spend another 250 million pounds. You criticize the previous manager for spending over 600 million pounds and not getting us anywhere, despite having a decent first season. The excuse for Ruben Amorim is this is not his team, this is not his squad. But this, regardless, nevertheless, trust them, this should never, ever be a performance that we should be accepting week in, week out from this manager. He has to do better.
He has to do better. Thank you very much, Kwame, for that analysis. Today we did analysis together, a very good one. I really enjoyed it, yes, because the truth needs to be told. I mean, for all those out there, it's not like we are being so critical on the manager, right? But even if a new manager comes and the materials, see, we criticize the quality. It's not there, but
Kwame, there are managers who have come into the league mid-season at other clubs and are getting better performances and results out of worse teams.
It's we are not creating. We are not. It's like, you see, we had a problem at Nottingham where we're not creating, or even when we create, we're not scoring. But this time around, we are not even creating at all. It looks so lackluster. It looks so mundane, just passing around. And when you pass around, we are not able to break it. It's like we have a ceiling. We can't break a certain barrier. I don't know any of you have also seen a kickoff routine. Like everybody goes, they pass the ball, then balloon the ball in, expecting something. I mean, it's not that we are nitpicking.
I've not noticed that, but then
take your time. Anytime you are going to kick off, just see what we do. All of these things. I mean, it's a lot to talk about. But Ruben Amorim has to back up. He has to back up as quickly as possible. Ineos is a very, very interesting group of people. The old man is very impatient. He's very, very impatient. Very, very, very impatient. A 72-year-old man who has just bought, or 73-year-old who has bought his boyhood club. He doesn't have time. He's a man in a hurry. He wants to see glory. Although he understands that, as he always says, it's not a light switch and all of those things. If signs, you are not seeing the signs, it becomes a problem. I mean, when he came first, you could see the pattern. There was this whole switch where we thought, you need a left wing back who will be there, have a lot of space to create. And
that was it was a new manager bounce, but it didn't come in the form of results. It came in the form of
patterns. Yes. And then it's gone.
And now everything's gone.
Everything is gone anyway. So that's it. Thank you very much for being a part. But let me share with you some very
you did it.
interesting.
Yeah,
I'm not done. Hey, share.
I thought you had forgotten for a second.
Oh, I've opened it here. All right. So for those on X, I'm sure you've already seen it. We said, okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. We prepared 10 games for you. We said that United versus Leicester will be home win for United and over 1.5. So those who saw it on X and have already started, it is ticking. Leyton Orient versus Manchester City. We said away win.
Is there a French club? Leyton Orient.
Orient. Away win over 2.5 for Man City. So Man City will win and will be scoring at least 3 goals in that game. That's over 2.5. So that's it. Everton versus Bournemouth, both teams to score. So take note of that. We've projected it. So as you can see, Plymouth versus Liverpool is also an away win and over 2.5. You can look at it that way. Aston Villa versus Spurs, home win or draw, both teams to score. You can check it out from that game as well. Birmingham versus Newcastle, away win, straight away win, Newcastle to win. Coventry versus Ipswich, both teams to score. So you can look at it. Wigan Athletic versus Fulham, away win for Fulham. Doncaster Rovers versus Palace, away win and over 1.5. You can look at it. Exeter versus Nottingham Forest is away win and over 2.5. All right. So as you can see, it's there. So go and give someone did it with a particular sporting site. I'll try and see if we can drop the link in there so you can go and check it out for yourself. All right. Okay. So our time is up. Kwame, thank you very much for being a part of the podcast. And thank you to you for calling the podcast. It's been great having you. We will see you on the next one in the course of next week. Yes, where we would come up with, discuss the next league game here. My name is Kwame. His name is Kwame. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great time. Bye-bye.